Sales development reps, best practices for teams. Why SDR performance makes or breaks pipeline. Sales development reps, SDRs, sit at the choke point of the B2B revenue engine. When they're consistent, account executives get a steady flow of qualified meetings. When they're not, even great closers struggle to create pipeline. That's why SDR best practices matter more than ever in 2025. This role is the difference between we're busy and we're growing. The uncomfortable reality is that 83.4% of SDRs fail to consistently hit quota, and it's usually process and management, not effort, that breaks the system. The market has also gotten less forgiving. Cold outreach still works, but it punishes sloppy targeting and weak execution, especially when teams treat SDR work like a generic entry-level job instead of a disciplined specialization. If you're running an outbound sales agency motion in-house, the way you structure time, messaging, data, and coaching will determine whether your SDR team reliably produces meetings or simply burns through lists. In this guide, we'll lay out a practical operating model we use and see work across B2B teams: the right scorecard, a daily rhythm built around buyer availability, multi-channel sequences that add value, and coaching that improves conversion, not just activity. We'll also address when sales outsourcing via an outsourced sales team or SDR agency is the faster, lower-risk route to pipeline if you don't have the internal bandwidth to build the machine. The modern SDR role: specialist, not generic junior sales. At its core, sales development exists to consistently create qualified meetings and early-stage opportunities for closers. That sounds simple, but it only works when SDRs have tight ownership boundaries, a defined ideal customer profile, ICP, clear qualification rules, and a clean handoff process that gives AEs context instead of confusion. The strongest teams treat SDRs as specialists who build pattern recognition within a specific segment, persona, and motion. What changed is the difficulty curve. Average cold calling success rates sit around 2.3% in 2025, which means dial more is not a strategy. It's a fast way to fatigue reps and torch your total addressable market. If your cold calling team is chasing anything that moves, you'll see the predictable symptoms: low connect rates, low meeting quality, and high churn. Specialization also clarifies org design decisions that otherwise create daily chaos. Inbound and outbound require different skills and SLAs, so combining them in one generic role often delays inbound response and destroys outbound focus. If you must run a hybrid model, the fix is not try harder. It's protecting time blocks and enforcing response time rules so inbound follow-up never gets buried under outbound tasks. Benchmarks that actually matter in 2025. Most SDR teams track too much of the wrong data. Activities, dials, emails, touches are hygiene metrics, but they are not the scoreboard, and managing purely by volume causes spray and pray outreach that damages your brand. A more reliable approach is to anchor on quality conversations per day, meetings held, and pipeline created. Then use activity numbers as guardrails to ensure the inputs exist. Here's the gap you're managing. SDRs average 94.4 activities per day, yet only about 4.4 quality conversations, and they spend roughly 2 hours per day actively selling. When live conversations are scarce, the only sustainable lever is to improve who you target, how you sequence, and how well SDRs convert those few real interactions into next steps. Use benchmarks as guardrails, not gospel, and set expectations by segment and ACV. Many outbound teams aim for 15 meetings per month per rep with about an 80% show rate, while some orgs set quotas closer to 21 meetings or 13 qualified opportunities per month. The key is consistency. If your team is far below these marks, assume a systems issue: data, ICP, coaching, workflow before you assume a talent issue. Designing a daily operating system, time blocking plus cues. Even great SDRs underperform in a messy environment. The simplest fix we recommend is time blocking, fixed call blocks, fixed follow-up windows, and a protected slot for research and admin so the day doesn't get swallowed by Slack and internal meetings. When calling windows are treated like optional, teams unintentionally optimize for comfort, not pipeline. You also need a single place where work shows up. If SDRs are bouncing between spreadsheets, data vendors, LinkedIn, and the CRM to figure out who to contact next, you're paying them to context switch instead of sell. The goal is 1 or 2 queues inside your sales engagement platform so reps can execute consistently, while routing, enrichment, and logging happen behind the scenes. This is where many hire SDRs plans fail, not on recruiting, but on operations. If reps only have 2 hours per day of true selling time, you can't afford manual list cleaning, CRM busy work, or unclear handoff rules. Whether you run this in-house or through sales outsourcing, the operating system is the product. Tight workflow design is what turns effort into output. Stop celebrating activity and start engineering quality conversations. Pipeline comes from the handful of real interactions you earn each day, not the dashboard volume. Building multi-channel cadences that buyers respond to. Single-channel outbound is a losing bet in 2025. Blended outreach across phone, email, and LinkedIn can lift results by over 287%, largely because it matches how buyers actually evaluate vendors. That means your playbook should ship with a default multi-channel sequence, not a choose-your-own-adventure set of tactics per rep. Cold email is still a viable lever when it's relevant and specific. About 78% of decision-makers say they've taken a meeting from a cold email in the past year, but that doesn't mean longer emails or more personalization tokens. It means clear targeting, one strong reason you're reaching out, and a call to action that's easy to say yes to. Design sequences around buyer behavior, not your org chart. Use calls as pattern interrupts to create familiarity, emails to land the value in writing, and LinkedIn outreach services to build light-touch credibility. When you work with a cold email agency or cold calling agency, ask whether they run truly integrated sequences or if they simply bolt channels together without shared messaging and measurement. Measure quality, fix messaging. Managing SDRs purely by dials and emails is the fastest way to get low-quality outreach and inconsistent pipeline. Activity metrics should be treated as minimum standards, while the real coaching focus is on quality conversations, meetings held, and sales-accepted pipeline. When your team averages only 4.4 quality conversations per day, every live interaction is expensive and worth reviewing. The simplest coaching rhythm is weekly call reviews and inbox reviews built around real wins and losses. Don't product dump during onboarding and expect success. Instead, structure ramp around listening, role play, objection handling, and talk tracks that get sharper every week. A healthy ramp is often 60 to 90 days, but teams that coach to real interactions compress time to productivity and reduce the confidence crash that drives churn. Standardize messaging frameworks so you can actually learn what works. Letting every rep wing their own scripts creates brand inconsistency and makes performance diagnosis impossible, especially across a growing outsourced sales team. Give a proven baseline, run controlled A/B tests, and document what converts. Then, update the playbook like it's a product, because it is. Data, tools, and AI. Remove friction without losing craft. Underinvesting in data and list building is a hidden tax that shows up as low connect rates and rep burnout. If your ICP is vague or your contacts are stale, you'll feel it immediately when cold calling success rates are only 2.3%. Great teams treat list building services and enrichment as a first-class function, not a side quest for SDRs between calls. We recommend making data and tools invisible to the rep. Centralize enrichment, routing, and CRM hygiene so SDRs spend their limited selling time in conversation work, not spreadsheet work. This is also where AI can help most. Research summaries, personalization drafts, and call notes can reclaim time, but AI cannot replace the fundamentals of opening, disarming, and qualifying. Keep the stack simple and the workflow consistent. A dialer, a sales engagement platform, clean CRM rules, and a reliable source of enriched contacts will outperform an overstuffed tech stack with no operating discipline. Whether you run B2B cold calling services internally or partner with a sales development agency, the best systems create momentum by reducing decisions and friction for reps. Choosing the right SDR model. The build versus buy decision is less about philosophy and more about speed, leadership bandwidth, and risk. Building in-house means recruiting, onboarding, playbooks, tooling, data operations, QA, and daily coaching, plus accepting that churn is part of the SDR reality. If you don't have dedicated SDR leadership, partnering with an SDR agency or B2B sales agency is often the most reliable way to launch or scale without months of trial and error. Use simple math to guide capacity planning. Many mid-market and enterprise teams run 1 to 2 SDRs per AE, depending on ACV and sales cycle, and they back into headcount using targets like 15 meetings per month per SDR and expected conversion from meeting to opportunity. If your AEs are starved for top-of-funnel volume, the fastest fix is usually operational, list quality, sequences, coaching, before it's hire more. At SalesHive, we've seen that teams win when they pick a model and operationalize it with discipline. If you need an outbound sales agency approach with predictable execution, Sales Outsourcing can deliver faster time to pipeline than a fresh internal build, especially when you also need cold calling services, a cold email agency motion, and B2B list building services under one roof. If you're evaluating providers, look for proof of process, transparent reporting, and a system that optimizes for held meetings and pipeline, not vanity activity.